Hey houseplant friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just want to start off the bat by saying that today's video is extremely triggering if you struggle with financial stuff or shopping addictions or depression, things like that. This isn't the video for you this week. I completely understand, but in this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly how much I spent this year on houseplants, and it's not good. I thought that this would be a fun video to do because I saw my friend Kat from Good and Planty do this, and I thought, hey, that sounds like a fun video idea. I sat down to total everything up, and I am absolutely sad. Welcome if you're new to my channel. Sometimes I do these kind of like plant tea commentary videos. I never really thought about myself as a shopping addict. I'm sure my husband would say otherwise, because in comparison to him, I spend a great deal more money than him. The benefits of being a double income house are that he has his money and I have my money, and we each spend without really notifying each other first if it's under a certain amount. Halfway through this year, my husband quit his job in order to pursue video game development. He's actually in his home office coding a video game as we speak, which is really cool. Because of that, I took over all the financial responsibilities in April, and it was really tight, but we had a really good savings net, and so we were really ready to take on this new adventure together of both of us pursuing our dreams, me doing YouTube and my husband doing game design. Looking back without seeing the numbers, I thought I did a really good job. I thought that I was just killing it as being the little breadwinner for our little new family. Thought I was managing my spending. In fact, I would say that I don't remember spending a lot of money on plants in January, February, and March. I thought I did actually a really good job. Couldn't tell you why. However, I can assure you it is exactly the opposite, and I was extremely irresponsible with my money. As I was going through and tallying everything up, I thought surely eventually the spending will stop, because I would have realized how unhealthy this is, just so unhealthy, and then it never did. And it just kept getting worse, and the spending just kept getting more. I'm scrolling through watching our bank account just whittle away into nothing, and I'm just living in absolute ignorance. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to check their bank account too often, which is probably the biggest problem. I was really blessed by Christopher kind of running the finances for a really long time, and so I never really had to think about anything, and my income was just my income, and Christopher took care of the bills and stuff, and I paid for my half of everything. But I just don't think I ever really mentally adjusted how serious things got until we had to move. If you remember, a while back, I had to move. We very unexpectedly had to move because our landlord was turning our rental into a Airbnb. And so we had 30 days to find a new place to live. We ended up here in this wonderful house that I seriously love and hope that we are here for many years to come. However, we had not even enough money in our bank account at the time of needing to move, finding out we needed to move, to even pay for 1/4 of a deposit. We couldn't go anywhere. So I had to sell nearly all of my plants. I know that doesn't sound like a lot because I have a lot of plants. I feel like for me, just taking a look at everything and seeing, oh my gosh, this got bad. I had an addiction. I had a problem. I could not stop. And actually taking a look at everything, I think, was really helpful for me, to be honest. I'm so embarrassed, you guys. And I didn't think I had a problem. January 2021, we started off by spending money on the first day of January, and I spent $36. Then over the next few days, I proceeded to spend about $300, and I spent about, if you were to divide it up between the whole month, $130 a week on plants. I couldn't tell you what plants they were. I don't remember, and I probably don't have them anymore. I finished off January with a grand total of $502.91. Rolling into February, it got a lot more intense. I started off on the first day of February spending $16.95. Then over the next 4 days, landing on the 5th, I had spent a total of $205 in 5 days on plants. On the 5th, I spent $23.30. On the 17th, so there's a big jump there, me not spending any money on plants, I spent $35. The 19th, $423. And then on the 20th, $100.73. A couple more smaller expenditures, and on the 25th of February, I spent $241.68, which I think was when I got the Alocasia Silver Dragon, because I spent that at a succulent day, and I never regret spending money on a succulent day because they're a small local business. I'll get into it in the excuses section, like all the excuses I gave myself for like why this was okay. That was just like one of the excuses. It'd be like, oh, well, I'm helping a small local business, right? March, we didn't spend any money until the 9th of March, and then I spent $23.27, and then that same day I spent $13.36, and then on the 10th I spent $3.16. Then we had a 6-day gap, and on the 16th I spent $73.66, and then on the 20th I spent $93. On the 30th of March, we had the first big expenditure for the year, which was $434.05. I had spent on an elbow from Varigata 777 because that wasn't enough. On the 30th, again, I spent $33.92. Again, this isn't plant supplies, you guys. This isn't pottery. It's just on the actual vegetation. Does it slow down? Like, I mean, I got to the end of that and I was like, okay, 23, 13, 3, 73 is a lot, 93 is a lot. But surely it slows down. And I'm like scrolling through, and it just keeps getting worse. April, we started off on April 1st. It seems to be a habit where the first day of the month I buy a plant. It's been 4 months in a row. I spent $14.81, and then I had a $615 sale. So I sold some plants because I seemed to realize that this wasn't good. And then I spent $42, $8, $5, and $9. And then at the end of April, Christopher quit his job and I took over the finances. Our finances actually reflect this, which is interesting. May, I only purchased 2 plants. I spent $30 on the 1st of May, and then I spent $13.50 on the 3rd of May. And then I had no other plant purchases for the entire rest of the month. However, when I was scrolling through, I noticed I was buying a lot of food. So it was a lot of different eating out. This was, I'm pretty sure I filed for my tax return super late. And so I'm pretty sure I got my tax return in May, which was why and again, like during all this time, you guys, we had a really comfortable safety net. Like we were fine. Like we were doing fine. Sure, it wasn't good that I was spending hundreds of dollars on plants, but it wasn't a detriment to our overall financial well-being at all. It was just, hey, that's a lot of money on plants, but you know what? You still got a couple $1,000s in savings. You're fine. You're doing good. May was when Christopher started to bring up to me that he was seeing lots and lots of expenditures, and we normally don't bug each other about what each other spend money on because it's not like, sure, it's our business, right? We're married, but Christopher lets me spend money on what I want. He spends money on what he wants, and we just kind of hope. And again, this is just my bank account. This is not my husband's bank account because we're separate people. May was also when I really, trigger warning, just heads up. May was when I got really depressed. If you didn't know, I've talked about it quite a lot on Instagram. You can follow me over there, Plant Me Ashley. Post a lot on Instagram, and there's like 25,000 of you over there, which is pretty cool. May was when I got really depressed, and my depression started in November of 2020. It's the time I remember starting to feel sad and just kind of like down in general. Didn't want to see people, covering up my body, wasn't happy with myself, starting to show some negative self, not the best behaviors. That kind of came to a head in May when I just had an absolutely massive mental health breakdown. I decided I needed to get help. So I couldn't find a psychiatrist or a therapist who specialized in what I needed help in. So I just went to the gym, and I actually found a really amazing trainer who helped me feel really good about myself and just taught me that like my body's good enough as it is, and I don't need to focus on losing weight. I just need to focus on like feeling like I live in my body again, because I was so disassociated. I just didn't like even feel like I was in my body. And I think that all this is so telling because there's so many different resources out there that discuss how overspending financially is a form of it can really, really, really set you back. And I think that was, I mean, I don't know. When we get to the totals at the end here, you'll see it kind of comes to a head. But yeah, May was not a lot of spending in plants because I was spending a lot of money on food, and I didn't total up the food expenses because honestly, like, there was so much. It was probably over $1,000 on eating out, and it wasn't good. But at the end of May was when I got help and I started to feel better. June, I only spent $70 on plants. I spent $71.02, and I spent that on the 29th of June. So I went almost 2 months without purchasing any plants. In June was when I was starting to feel really good. I had to spend some money in June on clothes because I had been not losing weight. I was actually gaining weight because I was building muscle, but I was going down in sizes because I was losing fat. Something happened in July. July, I had to stop going to the gym. The gym became really expensive. I was doing a really, really expensive gym program. The training was really, really, really expensive in terms of going to the gym. It wasn't just like, oh, I pay this one fee and then I get to go to the gym every day. It was like a physical trainer who would let me confide to them about my issues. It was basically therapy where I get to beat up a punching bag. Almost as soon as I stopped going to the gym, which was halfway through July, there's a charge on the 18th for $16.95 and then a charge for $19.06. Then a charge for $67.84, $64.63, $182.09, $40.28, $150, and then $75. So you can tell instantly my coping mechanism for my depression switched immediately back to spending on plants. And I was no longer at the gym, and I was not doing as good. I immediately started spending again. August sucks. This was honestly triggering looking through because I can't believe I spent this much on plants. I've never spent this much money on anything. And to just spend it all on plants, like, just, again, this whole video is just one big trigger warning. August was my rock bottom. Mentally, I was doing horrific, absolutely horrible. And I'm pretty sure at the end of August and beginning of September, I'll find the exact date and put it right here. It's when I went off my birth control, which is what I figured out was giving me depression. August was absolutely horrific. It was like the worst month of my life for so many reasons. August was I was at the worst spot mentally ever. Physically also ever. Like, just feeling like I don't live in my own body. I was completely disassociated. I was spending so much money. It came to an awful point because the spending in August abruptly stopped because we found out we had to move. And then we had no money to move, like, at all, because I had spent all of it. So we start off August with a $200 charge, $191.86. Then we have a $253 charge, and then a $71 charge, and then a $50 charge. This is so hard. Then we have a $625 charge. And this was in Arizona. I purchased a pop pill aluminum and a variegated domesticum. And then also in Arizona, I spent $410. So in one day alone, I blew over $1,000. Then it's followed up. You'd think after spending that much money, I would reel it in and understand that this isn't okay, that it's not feasible, that it's not good, and I didn't. Because then I proceeded to spend, when I got back from Arizona, $36, $183, $16. It's the last day of the month that there was a charge, which was around the 15th. I spent $57.37. And then September happened, and I realized, holy shit, we have to move. Technically, these charges came through before September, but they hit my bank in September because it was a lot of money moving into my account. So halfway through August, I start selling my plants. And it took me 2 weeks to sell the plants that I needed to sell. And instead of spending money, I only made money. I think I had $116.96 charge from Lowe's on the 9th of September. But other than that, I made $1,935, and then I made $805. Then I made $117, $131, $231, $85, $128, and then $300. And then the following week, I had another sale of $447, $710, $345, $236, and $352. So September, all I did was half of August, first week of September, all I did was just sell my plants. And that was the moving. That was all. It was everything I had bought. Basically, I had to turn around and sell everything I'd bought for almost the whole year. And then in October, on the 3rd, I spent $24.38. And then on the 8th, I spent $52. And then at the same day, I spent $13. And then on the 28th of October, I spent $119. October was officially when I was off of my birth control. I think I went off, I don't know. Like I said, I'll have the exact date. But that was really, really pivotal. I discovered my birth control was the reason I was really depressed. I went on it when I was 19 because I had extremely painful periods. Basically put me out of commission, and I was going to a D1 school. And so everyone's solution was, hey, let's just take this girl's period away. We need her more to be able to do her job as an athlete than we need her to have a functioning human body. I don't remember the last 3 years of my life. Genuinely, I don't remember it. There's certain things I remember. I went off the pill, you guys, and within a week, it was like my depression just went away. And it's only been getting better ever since, which was when there was only 4 charges. Then in November, there was only 2 charges. It was $38.16 and $55.40. And then November, I would say pretty healthy mentally. And then in December, which is right now, I had a couple different charges, but I didn't outright buy any plants except for one. I bought a $27 plant from Lowe's. The other charges are my entire trip that I went to Botanica's for their grand opening. That was what I wanted to do for birthday, Christmas, whatever, right? And in order to do that, before going, I sold an Ilsamanii, and I sold it for $2,000 to a guy who's on my wait list. In order to go, I made a mentally healthy decision and made money first in order to fund going. A big step forward, because it seems like all of this selling here was always an afterthought. In my brain, looking on paper, it was always an afterthought. It was oh, I don't have enough money, I need to sell. It was never oh, I should sell this in order to do this thing that I want to do, right? So I'm really proud of myself that I decided to do that, because that's what your assets are for, right? To use for experiences. I don't see the point of I wanted the experience of going to Botanica's for their grand opening. I paid for it completely myself. They didn't bring me out. Brought a friend, and I paid for her to go as well. And I did that with that money, and I'm really happy that I did that. I think being young is about traveling and doing these fun things, especially because I had the money beforehand to go. So I had a budget, and I actually stuck well within the budget. So now that you have all of that, let's look at the totals. So January, my spending total was $502.91. February, my spending total was $554.14. And it goes up again in March to $675.10. So it was only getting worse as I was progressively getting more depressed. April was when Christopher quit his job, and so we couldn't spend a lot of money on plants because I was the sole person taking over. I only spent $81.24, which at the time I remember being so proud of myself. I was yeah, I hardly spent any money on plants this month. Meanwhile, I spent a whole $80. That is a lot of money. Then in May, I only spent $43.50 on plants. And then in June, it goes back up again. I spent $70.02. July, I spent $512.20. And then everything came to a peak in August when I had spent $1,896.34, or $1,896.34, which was horrific. In September, I only spent $16.96, plus I made a bunch of money in plant sales, which I'll go over in a second. Then October, I spent $210.21, which was awful. Why did I do that? I didn't need to do that at all. And then in November, I spent $93.56, which was for birthday plants. So I had a birthday, November 10th, and so I bought some plants for my birthday. December, I just decided to round it up to $1,000. So I only calculated about $783 spent on like between the ticket, like right to go to Botanica's, between the tickets, between like the one expensive dinner we had when I was there. But I decided that between like gas and tax and like all this stuff, because I didn't count the food when I was there, except for the one big expenditure, I rounded it up just to $1,000, which brings us to a grand total of I spent $5,661.18 on plants in 2021. And that's assuming I didn't forget anything or miss something as I was scrolling through. I really tried my best to get absolutely everything, but I decided for the sake of this video, we're just gonna round it up to $6,000 because I just wanna make sure I haven't forgot anything. I spent about $6,000 or just under $6,000 on plants. However, I sold a lot of plants this year as well, too. I made this, so even though I spent just under $6,000 on plants this year, I made just under $8,000 from sales. So I made $7,882 this year from sales. And almost all of that I specifically made, like that's not a profit. That was just to cover the cost of the plants I bought this year. Like, sure, I live here and I have plants and I can buy plants when I want, but I really can't buy plants when I want. Like, it is not a good thing that I've been doing, and we don't have the money to just spend. Like, I can't believe we're okay. We were so close to not being okay in August when we found out we had to move. No money in our bank account. Like, I had to just sell freaking everything. Like, we were even in talks with my parents to get a loan from them because we didn't have enough money and we had to move. Like, we had to be out by a certain time. And of course, I'm not going to talk about, like, I didn't even think there was a problem because I was choosing to not pay attention to the problem. Now, why do I think this happened? Obviously, I think I was coping with my depression by purchasing, but I think it's more than that. I think I had an actual, and probably still do have an actual shopping addiction, because when I was looking through everything, it was like, bro, how are you not stopping? Like, how you have to stop spending money. This is not good for you. For you, it's not good for your family. Like, it's not just you, it's you and another person right now. And it just never stopped. And even now, like, I'll be at the store and I'll be like, oh, but this one plant won't do anything. But all it takes is you go to the store like once a week or twice a week for groceries, and it's just that one plant every time you're at the grocery store that easily could reach up to just $200 with just like common plants. And I think that's why it happened. And I don't want to be someone who excuses behavior, because mental illness, I didn't think I had a problem. Even until I sat down, like until today, I did not recognize that there had been an issue. I knew I spent too much money on plants, but I never opened up my bank account to like really look at it, because I don't think I wanted to know. Ignorant bliss that like everything was fine, because we were fine and we have been fine. We've never been late on a rent payment. Like, oh my God, was it not okay? And was I not okay? And maybe I would have thought to go off my birth control sooner. Like, I don't know. Obviously hindsight is everything, but holy moly, I didn't think I was someone who spent money to cope with their issues, but I 100% did. The months where my spending was the most was the months where I was literally just fighting mentally to keep going. Every single plant I needed to sell sold, and I'm really proud of myself that I did that, and I didn't just like take the easy way out and just like take a loan from my parents to. It's so easy, I feel like, to come out of something like this and just like put something on credit. I'm just like blessed I didn't have to do that. And still to this day now, I don't have any debt. Like, everything I spent on plants, I spent with my actual money. No debt. Holy moly, I can't imagine. Like, I'm so blessed I never did that, because I started thinking about it around like May when Klarna became like a really big thing. I'm just so happy I never. Yeah, I don't know. Say what you want to say. But I'm here to share this, and I don't know, maybe there's someone else out there who's in a similar situation. So, financial goals for 2022. I want to say I'm not going to buy any plants. Like, Caitlin really freaking inspired me. If you don't watch Plant Life in the Tropics, you should. She's so wonderful. She really inspired me, and throughout all of 2021, she spent like no money on plants, except for like a little bit for her birthday, and then I think a little bit at the end. It's like, okay, so it is possible because I just think I'm so caught up in this like spending, just like buying plants, just like getting more plants. And I've been talking about it a lot and kind of like coming to my own conclusions. And you guys have been saying you love the content, which is really nice because I like making that kind of introspective content. However, I want to say that I just won't spend any money on, like, I'm just not going to spend any money on plants in 2022. But for someone who has as big of an issue with spending as me, I don't think that's a realistic goal. And I don't want to set an unrealistic goal for me to fail, for me to then just feel bad about myself and then relapse and have another couple $100 spending spree on plants. So I think for 2022, I'd like to set a goal for I can buy one plant a month and it has to be under $50. Because then I think, what is that? It's about $600 for an entire year, which is a lot. I don't want to spend that much. I just don't want to spend money on plants. I don't want to spend money on plants. I really don't want to spend money on eating out. Like, I want to stop taking out my emotions on just spending. Spending money really makes me feel so good, and I don't know why. Like, it makes me feel elated. I love to spend money. And it's been kind of a meme with like me and some of our other friends, but it's like, it's not a meme anymore. It's not even funny. It's like, I did something bad. Like, this is a problem. I have a problem. And I didn't realize I had one until like today. So in 2022, I'm really just going to focus on trades, and I'm just not going to buy unless there's something that comes up. But I think at any one time, if I'm buying a plant, it can't be over 50 or honestly maybe even 20. I think I'll sit down, and in 2022 in January I am gonna have like a goals video. So if it's past that point and you want to like watch an update video on like what's happened, you can click in the link in the description. I'll have a little link there to it. I don't know. I don't think I want to spend more than like $200 total in 2022 on plants. However, that ends up being like divided out. Like, it's just, there's no point. I have all the plants I could ever want, and I have all of the ability to do trades ever, like now more than ever, with the plants that I have. Like, I don't need to buy plants. I think I would way rather just trade and experience the joy of like growing and working on care. Like, maybe 2022 I'll just focus on care instead of adding to the collection. In order to be like a good plant YouTuber, I would need to have a certain amount or like build my collection to a certain point, and I just like I'm realizing that that's not it. That's not what people care about. But I think a lot of the excuses I made this year were, it's a tax write-off. My job is plants and my job is YouTube, and anything I put here, like I can write off in some instances. The trip to Botanica's was a business expense. I can write it off. Like, there was just so many excuses that I had, like, oh, I'm supporting a small business. Oh, I won't ever find this at a lower price. Like, I should buy this before the prices go up again. And none of the excuses were good or viable. They were just a reason for me to just keep on spending. That's it. It's a really heavy video, and I'm editing and putting this up the same day I filmed it, so you're gonna see this in a matter of hours. And please be gentle. You know, you can say whatever you want. I'm pretty good with mean comments, but the day you're seeing this, if you're watching this the day it's going up, it's the same day I'm realizing I'm having a problem with this, and I'm trying to internalize it as best I can. It's kind of a lot. So thanks for being here. Thanks for going through this journey with me. Really bearing my chest to you right now. If you're a family member watching this video, I really don't want you to talk to me about this because I just don't want that conversation really right now. So please respect that. But yeah, this is me, and I'm really gonna work really hard on this in 2022, and I'm honestly feeling really prepared because I've done so much healing for the past few months with not having another drug just clog up my mind. I feel so clear. I've made so many different healthy changes in the last month alone to my life, and I think right now is just the best point ever for me to make this change. So thank you for watching my video. Thank you for being here with me. Please hit like and subscribe. Share this video if you think you liked it, if it was good. I think that this is a really important video, and I think it's something people in plant collecting don't really talk about, is how much you spend on plants. It's not like I'm a shop. It's not like I'm operating as like a plant shop and I'm needing to buy inventory to prop and then sell. Like, this is just to collect. Yeah, plant shopping can be an actual problem, and I hope that if any of you out there are struggling with this like I am, or maybe with another hobby, you know, good tidings, and let's get through this together. So I'll be posting an update, I think, every month for the next year, what I spent in January, what I spent in February, to kind of have some sort of dependency there, to have someone to report to. But yeah, thank you for this. I really needed it. I guess I'll see you guys in the next houseplant section, or not. Thanks for this year. This was a really fun year, despite all this spending and mental health stuff. This was a really fun year for YouTube, and just thanks. Thank you so much to all my YouTube channel members, as well as my highest donators, Maggie Piciano, Kim Klanowski, Cole M, All the Green Places, and Botanicas. Your extra channel support is so appreciated.